Good morning, gorgeous. This is Shay, and I am back with another video to give you a boost on your fitness journey, beginners friendly.
No, you can't make me. Never going back, never going back. They never take me. I've been enough of petty dudes.
So I will be cutting up lemons and limes this morning. Lemons and limes help aid in digestion, detox the body of toxins, keep skin glowing, promotes healthy weight loss, boosts energy and mood, and also prevent kidney stones and many more. I'm also going to add in a teaspoon of apple cider vinegar inside of my water. Also helps with weight loss. I also use vitamin C. Vitamin C is important for connective tissue repair. I also take vitamin B12. Vitamin B12 helps keep your body, blood, and nerve cells healthy. I also use sea moss as a multivitamin. It has a list of healthy benefits. It helps boost thyroid functions, gut health, helps keep the heart healthy, weight reduction, and many more. Hello y'all, I just made it to my chiropractor office. I will be going in there and he will be sharing with you why chiropractor health is important. He will also be aligning my spine. So let's go inside.
Damn! You got a big old, big old, big old booty.
Hey there, young lady.
Hi.
All right, let's get you checked here. How'd you do after that initial adjustment there?
Good.
Yeah.
Mhm.
No soreness or anything?
No.
Okay. You can get you on your side, facing me this way, please. So, perfect. And back for me. Hold that in. Oh man, you needed that. Ooh, nice. That's what's gonna help boost your sinuses. Lovely. Go ahead and sit up for me, kiddo. Perfect. Okay. So what we're going to do next is we're going to be reviewing your exam findings. Look at your X-rays. Before we do that, we're just going to go over a little bit of information on chiropractic and how chiropractic affects your health. Okay. So we're going to do that in just a couple minutes. But I'm really happy you're here. You need to be here. Okay.
Yeah. Thank you.
All right. You're welcome. And I'll be with you in just a moment. Okay.
Okay.
A few moments later.
Okay, so I'm going to have you change seats to over here. I know your camera's there, but I'm going to be talking this way for just a few minutes.
Okay.
So just for a few minutes, we're going to talk about how chiropractic affects your health. I found that most people don't have a clear understanding exactly what chiropractic is supposed to do. And then we're going to talk about what good x-rays look like and what bad x-rays look like. That way, when we look at your x-rays, you're going to know exactly what we're talking about, okay?
Okay.
Now, I do like to ask a lot of questions, and the reason why I ask questions, I like to have a little bit more feedback back and forth. I don't want to yammer at you for 15 minutes, okay? If there's some feedback, that's great. But if I ask a simple question, it doesn't mean I don't think you know the answer. It's because I just like to ask questions.
Okay.
So I'd never do a trick question on you, all right?
Okay.
So the first real easy question is, what organ's that?
That's the brain, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the thinker, right?
Right.
And so what does the brain control in our body? It controls all our what?
organs.
Yeah, it controls all our organs. It controls all our everything, right? And it does that by sending signals, messages, and information down from the brain, down through the spinal cord, out the spinal nerves. And in between these vertebrae, there's always little holes. And these little, this here is the spine, right?
Mm-hmm.
And this is the back, this is the front. Those yellow things represent spinal nerves. And in between these vertebrae, there's little holes where all the spinal nerves come out at, right? And all those nerves come out and form a network of nerves and connect our brain to our body. And that's how our body knows what to do all the time. Now we're all under stress, right? We're all under gravity. So that's how our body knows what to do. So we're all under stress, we're all under gravity. Our body goes out of alignment. Do you remember what that's called? That subluxation?
Mm-hmm.
It's okay.
Okay.
So when we're subluxated, right? When you have vertebra stuck out of alignment, pressed on a soft nerve, that nerve pressure is decreasing those informational signals that are trying to get from our brain down to our body. So now that the organ is getting less information from the brain, it's no longer working the same anymore, right? So now the function of that organ is down, and over time the health of that organ goes down, and then where's your health going?
Down.
Down with
Just
it,
keep
right?
going down, yeah.
Yeah, and if it does that for 20 or 30 years, and things get sick enough, you know, what's the end of sick?
Death.
Yeah, dead, right? And then we die. So what I do is when I'm going up and down that spine, I'm adjusting those subluxations, right? Now so the adjustment is actually doing two things for us. First thing it does is it puts better mechanical function into the spine. So better mechanical function, if you have better mechanical function on the spine, just like parts in our car, if parts in your car are off a little bit, they're going to break down a lot what?
Easier.
Easier,
or
a lot
faster.
quicker, faster,
Mm-hmm.
exactly. Easier, faster, quicker. So when our parts are moving, when our joints are moving nice and long on top of each other, they're going to last longer, and we want our parts to last our entire life, right?
Right.
So that's the one good thing. The second benefit of the adjustment is because when you have better mechanical function of the spine, when all your joints are supposed to move a certain way, when that happens, there's less inflammation around that joint. So if you have less inflammation around that joint, really what you're doing is you're opening up those spaces that are where those nerves are coming out of.
Mm-hmm.
So when you open up that space, now you have less compression on that nerve. So now there's better function between your brain and your body. And so now if that organ is getting better information, now it's going to function at a higher level, and over time the health of that organ goes up, and then your health is going up with it, right?
Right.
And so I find any place that's out of alignment, and then I take care of it for the rest of your life.
Right.
Now, some people say that's a long time, right? And I hope I agree with them, right? But the reality is what other healthcare doctor thinks you should take care of a body part for the rest of your life? Your dentist, right?
Right.
And nobody's looking at them crazy, right?
Mm-hmm.
Nobody. I mean, we used to a long time ago. My grandpa used to think that to go to the dentist, he needed to go when he needed a tooth
Pulled out, right?
Mm-hmm. But his grandpa's dentist is probably also the barber, right? I mean,
Right.
things had changed over time.
Right, that's true.
My parents' teeth were better than my grandparents. Mine were significantly better than my parents. And my kids are even better than mine, right? Because we know that if we take care of a body part from 5 years old all the way to 95 years old, I mean, we can keep our teeth, right?
Right,
Because our
that's
teeth
true.
are supposed to last how long?
A long time. Like, yeah,
Our
long,
whole
long time.
life.
Mm-hmm.
Our
whole life.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, our spine is meant to last how long?
Our whole life.
Yeah, and there's no dentures for the spine. Now, I don't brush my teeth in between adjustments in here, but I do a lot of dental analogies. I think you're going to see that because I think there's a lot of parallels between dentistry and chiropractic, and people understand dentistry. So now when people come in here, sometimes they'll say, hey doc, you're not asking me how I'm doing every single time. And the reality is I don't. And it isn't because I don't care. I'm hoping that anybody who comes to our office, I mean, even if no matter what they think about me or chiropractic, I'm hoping that they at least figure out that I care about them.
Right.
So when I don't ask how you're doing every time, it's not that I don't care. It's just on that day, it's really not going to be all that important. Because, I mean, my dentist, when I go in, they ask how I'm doing every time. And I've never said anything other than great. And yet, every time they check in every single tooth. Last time they went in, they took some X-rays, right? Because they hadn't took them in a long time.
Right.
And so the reality is they're checking it. It doesn't matter what I say, they're checking it. So if you came in and you said, hey doc, I'm not feeling so good today. I have this going on, or I have this going on. My low back's hurt and I have a headache. It doesn't, I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. Let's check you. Sure. But if you came in and you said, hey doc, I think the last time I felt this good, I think I was a a Girl Scout. I mean, I feel fantastic. I'm like, sweet, let's check you. Because we're going to check you whether you're hurt or not.
Right.
Why? Because it takes 40 to 70% of your cells at the cellular level have to be sick, diseased, or dead before you ever say how. So how sick are we before we know we're sick? Usually. Usually we're pretty sick, right? I mean, there's a reason people don't go to the ER the day before a heart attack, typically. Because they typically the day before a heart attack they're feeling what?
They feeling okay.
They're feeling okay. They're feeling normal. Right? Feeling fine, right? And but the same thing goes with cancer. You know, I mean, if somebody goes to their medical doctor, right, because of cancer, or actually if somebody goes to their doctor because they're not feeling well, and they find out that they're not feeling well is because of some sort of cancer, typically they're not having a good day. Right. If the cancer's that far along, it's causing symptoms, you're in trouble. Right?
Right.
Same thing with tooth decay, same thing with the spine, same thing with kidney disease, right? So we want to, my dentist would never wait until I was hurting before, or having like a lot of symptoms before they check me, and I would never do that to you either. So we're going to check you out before you, even if you're feeling good. Okay? And then once we do get you out, what's going to be our job?
To maintain it, right?
Maintain health, exactly. So we're going to come on over here and we're going to look at this, So I'm going to actually have you come on over here and stand over here a little bit closer so you can also, I mean, you can get it on film too.
Okay.
But I want you to be able to see what's going on as well. So we're going to look at some X-ray. You're going to look at your X-rays, but we're going to compare your X-rays to this chart. So these are all necks. These are all low backs. These are necks from the side. So these are all side views, right?
Okay.
Side view. So if you're so the side posture, right? So this is back, front, all the way down. Same thing here. These are about as healthy as you can get. These are about as sick degenerate as you're going to get. Okay. So we're going to concentrate on healthy. I feel like there's a lot of benefit of understanding what healthy is supposed to look like.
Okay.
So it's real easy to think about, like, there's only 4 things that we need to know when we're looking at what does a healthy spine look like as far as chiropractic is concerned. So first thing we want to see is the healthy curve. There's supposed to be a healthy curve here and a healthy curve here. Now that curve is so important in that neck, that we actually, chiropractors, we call it the arc of life. Because people, when they have a healthier curve in their neck, they're going to live longer, you're going to live better, and you're going to live better longer. Okay? Okay. And then also down here, between the both of them, it's important to have that because that also acts like a
spine, what's it called? Bungee?
Yeah, like a spine. Bungee gives you like a spring, a bungee cord. You know, it gives it energy someplace to go. And so that's important. Second thing we're going to be looking at is disc spaces. Now the disc is actually made up of cartilage, like this here. This here is an example of the spine, and these things here are representative of the discs. But it's not a space. It's made of cartilage, like the end of our nose or our ear. That shows up on. What will happen is that's soft tissue, so it doesn't show up so good on X-ray. But the thicker that space, we can infer that it's going to be a healthier disc. Okay. Third thing, shape of the bones. You look here, they all look square and symmetrical. You start getting out here and they all look pretty funky, right? Right. So the shape of the bones, the better that they look, the less time that problem's been there. So, and if you're like me, I always thought shape of the bones, I thought bones were bones, right? I thought bones, I didn't know they changed, right? Until I went to school for it. But the reality is that they will change over time when it's degeneration. So we can tell by the shape of the bones, we can actually tell how long has a problem been there, and that's something that we can determine. Okay. Now the fourth thing that we're looking at is posture. If I drop the line straight from this process down, it should go right in front of that vertebra. From the middle of this vertebra, it should go right in front of that process. Now which vertebra those are, which process that is less important, but here's what I want you to get out of that. If you know somebody who's kind of hunched over, walking around, 70 years old, hunched over. This guy's walking around hunched over like this at 70, and they have a sibling who's standing up straight at 80. Which one of those two people are going to be healthier? The one that's standing straighter, right? Exactly. Almost 100% of the time. Why? Because posture has a huge risk factor as far as health goes. And you don't have to take my word for it. Anybody you've ever known who's 80, 85 years old, and you think, dang, man, when I'm your age, I hope I'm rocking it like you are. You are living your best life there, lady. they're never the person hunched over like that. It's always the person standing up straight, right?
Right.
So health or posture is a huge risk factor as far as health goes. So when you look at this, you can think of this as phase 1 is 25% sick. You can think of phase 2, 50% sick. Phase 3, 70-90% sick. We can think of it that way. So we're gonna look at, say, somebody in phase 2. So when you look at that person there, so now that we know those 4 things, right? When you're looking at that, what do you see in there that causes you concern? How's the curve?
Straight. It's like
straight
up and
curve,
down.
so it's a sick curve, right? And you can see here that these disc spaces are different than above and below, right?
Right.
And the shape of these vertebrae are different than above and below. So how long has that problem been for? A short time or a long time? I know you don't know exactly how long, but it's been there for
a long
time, right? I mean, nobody sleeps on the couch on Thursday, wakes up Friday with bone remodeling and degeneration, right? I mean, this takes time, right? So this guy, he's feeling fine, and this is typical. This guy's feeling fine, comes, and one day he wakes up in horrible pain. So he wakes up in horrible pain, and most people are calling their chiropractor right away. They call their medical doctor, right? Or they call MD on the phone, and out of love and concern, they're going to give him some pills, because this guy wakes up in horrible pain, right? Horrible neck pain, shooting pain down the arm, numbness and tingling in the finger, starting to lose some grip strength, right? So he calls his medical doctor up, and his medical doctor gives him some pills, right? Some naproxen, some cyclobenzaprine, some hydrocodone. They're going to numb it, right? And I'm not beating an MD up. I have friends who are MDs, with some of the most intelligent, smart, loving, caring people on the planet, right? I'm not beating them up. I'm just saying that's what they're going to give them, right? It's because they don't want them in pain. Right. The person doesn't want to be in pain. So they're going to numb it. The guy's going to start to feel better. But in that instance, is he actually better? No. It's masking it. And I don't blame the MD, and I'm not going to ever judge anybody who goes that route. But people who do go that route, I'm going to say, okay, that's fine. You've done what you need to do to get through the moment, but let's do this. Let's get to some of the cause, right? Right. So when I'm going to start adjusting this guy, I'm going to start adjusting him very gently. But I'm going to do it not just to adjust him, but I want to get a better what? Better posture. Yeah, better posture, better curve, better structure, right? And so when you look at that guy, I mean, straight out, I mean, and I had a fella who came in a while back, and he's like, dude, his looked exactly like that. He's like, I mean, really, what are you really going to do? And I'm like, well, what do you mean? He says, well, you can't fix what's already there. And I'm like, okay, I mean, I can appreciate it. And he was right for saying that. I can't undo the degeneration that's already there, but I can get him better. I mean, I can't make a guy like that 16 again, but I can improve it, right? Right. Because doing nothing's going to get what? Worse. Yeah, 100%. I'm dealing with the same kinds of tissues like an orthodontist does. Now, an orthodontist does the teeth. Yeah. They're not changing the shape of the tooth, right? They're changing the connective tissue, ligaments, tendons that hold the teeth in where they're supposed to go. So if I'm dealing with the same kinds of tissues, it makes sense that it's going to take some time for us to get better, right? Right. So when people come in at phase 1 of spinal decay, it takes 40 to 50 adjustments over the course of a year. Phase 2 would take 70 to 80 adjustments over the course of a year, and phase 3 would take 120 adjustments over the course of 18 months. But if you've had a problem for 80 years, it's going to take longer than if you had a problem for 5, right? That's true. And what phase do you think most adults come in at? Maybe phase 2. Hopefully. Yeah. Phase 2. And why wouldn't they come in at phase 1? Because the pain goes away. People typically don't come in the first time the pain comes around. They come in the first time the pain doesn't go away. Right? Right. Because it'll come and it'll go and come and go. And I hear this all the time. Well, boy, this time it used to happen once a year and then a couple times a year. This time it hit me. Man, it's not going away this time. And now I have a wedding coming up or golf season's coming around or whatever. And it's affecting that's something that they want to do. So most adults come in at phase 2 and need about 70 adjustments for the course of a year for correction. Okay? Okay. So I'm going to put your x-rays up, and I'm going to let you take a peek at them for a minute. Okay. And I'll be back in, and we'll go over them together, okay? Okay. So we're going to go over your x-rays, okay? Okay. So let's start at the top, and then we'll work our way down. When you're looking at this, what do you see in there that causes you concern? That is straight up and down. Yeah, it's straight as an arrow, right? I drew a straight line, and it goes all the way up and down, super straight. And so the curve is straightened, and you can tell that when you look at the shape of this vertebra and this vertebra, it looks different than the middle, right? So how long has that problem been there for? A short time or a long time?
Kind of both, like kind of short and long, because I was comparing it to that.
You're right to say that. So we're not quite here yet.
Right.
But still, if it's bone, I mean, nobody sleeps on the couch, like I said before, nobody sleeps on the couch on Thursday, wakes up with bone remodeling. So that takes years, right? So it's been a long time. I mean, this isn't like a couple weeks thing, right? This is more like at least 5-6 years for that to happen, maybe longer, it depends.
Right.
So why is that concerned? Because when you have a straight neck, the straighter that your neck is, and you kind of mentioned this earlier, you know, the straighter that your neck is, it pushes your head out to 17 millimeters. It should be 7, so it's 10 millimeters farther forward. That's going to put more pressure back here, and those nerves are going right to your heart and your lungs, right? So people, when they have a reverse curve or straight neck, it turns out that that's the same risk factor as smoking. So, I mean, how critical is it to get that curve back? Because smoking is a 13 to 15 year risk factor, and a straight or reverse curve is a 14-year risk factor. So how critical is it to get that curve back? A little bit or a lot?
A lot.
Not critical, right? And so down here, you can see this is your low back. And so this is where your curve is, and this is where the curve should be, right? So your curve is, you're leaning a lot forward. And you can see here that you see these disc spaces here? It's a lot thicker than that one there, right? Do you see that? I mean, if you look here, I mean, this problem's been there for a while too. Your posture's been off, and so we need to improve the mechanical function of this segment specifically, because part of the reason why this is thinner is because of that dysfunction.
Okay.
So we need to restore it. So if dysfunction is the cause of that, what do we need to do? We need to improve the function, right? Around visit 8, then we get you talking about a wedge. Now a wedge is going to help you get that curve back.
Okay.
So the wedge is right over here. This is called a Denerol. And so for me to help, so as you can see here, this is a very firm. It's firm, but it will give a little bit. So we show you how to use this thing, and you lay over the top of it, as you can see here, that would really help bend and reshape and remold your neck. So you start off with a few minutes and you build up to 15-20 minutes.
Alright y'all, I know this has been a long video, but I encourage you to make sure that you get your body aligned. Your body will thank you later. Your body will be moving properly. Your nerve system will be functioning better, as a misalignment can compressure and pinch the nerves, and your muscle will be looser. The most important thing out of this whole video is to check your thyroid level. Make sure that your thyroid levels are where they're supposed to be. Your thyroid levels play a big part in fitness. You can also be in a gym, going hard, eating healthy, and you just wondering like, why am I not losing weight? It's been so long and the scale has never changed. It's like, what is going on? And that's because you have to check your blood work internally to make sure that your thyroids are where they're supposed to be. Your thyroid is how fast you burn calories and how fast your heart beats. If you like this video, make sure you give it a thumbs up. Make sure you hit that notification bell so you can get notified every time I drop. Bye!